بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. الطرف الثاني. These are the rulings of Salatul Jama'ah, and we studied the first section, الطرف الأول, last week, and now it's الطرف الثاني. يعتبر في الإمام. يعتبر, what does يعتبر mean? When you read this in a fiqhi setting, in a fiqhi book, when it says يعتبر, يعتبر, if you translate يعتبر, it is considered. But here, what type of consideration? Is it optional or non-optional?
Usually non-optional.
Here, non-optional, you don't have option. So it is mandatory. يعتبر means it is mandatory. It's a condition, a condition. In someone who leads the jama'ah. Who can lead the jama'ah in the Ja'fari tradition in the school of Ahl al-Bayt? يعتبر في الإمام الإيمان. What does iman mean? أحسنت. Yeah? Iman, it is one step further, which is being a believer in the 12 imams, in the Imamiyya tradition. So this is one condition that the imam has to have, al-iman. The second thing, wal-adala. What is adala, my friends?
Just.
How is that? How do you translate that? Be more specific.
The one who avoids he does not do the kabair and even avoids the
Saghair. He does not do the cardinal sins, neither insist on doing the minor ones, neither a frequent one when it comes to the minors. But if he's a frequent one, frequently does the minor ones, then it becomes what? The hadith says every minor sin, when you insist on keep doing it, it becomes what? Cardinal. Okay? This is the adil. This is the meaning of adil. And this is why not only for Imam al-Jama'ah is required to be adil, but also for what situations too? To be a witness in the court. A witness for murder, a witness for fornication, a witness for theft, a witness for divorce, even divorce. This is why sometimes when we have divorce, either you have to find two just witnesses or in front of a congregation. So I bring 5, 6 people. I pack the room with people. They say, why? I say, because, if we can't find 2 adil, then it has to be 4, 5, 6 people. Consider the congregation. Okay? Wal-adala. And then, wal-aql. What is aql here? How much aql he has to have? Because we see some of imams of Jama'ah, they have small aql. Not very sharp, not very intelligent. Well, this is true. In Muslim countries, go to the masjid, there is Wizaratul Awqaf, the Ministry of Religious Affairs. Someone says, I failed the test. They did test for him to do adhan. They find him, he doesn't do the adhan good. His voice does not help. They said to him, okay, you can be the imam, This is a true story. He failed the test of being mu'adhin, adhan, so they appointed him the imam. So if you go to Muslim countries, mashallah, you find any person who failed in the elementary school in selling watermelon in the market, come and be imam. Aql does not mean he has to be like Einstein. No. Aql is to distinguish between halal and haram, between good and bad. There's a minimum amount of aql, minimum, because he's not doing discoveries there, or he's not doing math or whatever, or solving scientific problems. But we want him at least to know what he's doing and his responsibility. So the minimum, because some people say, wow, this guy, the Sharia says aql, and his aql is not complete, is not, integrate. We say no, aql, the minimum level of aql is okay. Otherwise, if you want to put intelligent, people have to pray furada, no jama'ah.
Is the aql say it more about like kind of the standard, or I thought for them not to be majnoon, meaning they have to have sound mind?
Yeah, minimum, yeah. Not to be majnoon. So minimum aql. Just to pass the level of junoon. 1 degree above junoon is accepted.
But sometimes aql means is...
يضع الشيء. Amir al-Mu'mineen was asked, what is aqil? What is your definition of aqil? He said, الذي يضع الشيء في موضعه. Every person who puts the objects, not necessarily physical objects, spiritual objects, in its due position and location, that person is aqil. For instance, he has money. How do you spend your money? Wisely, you spend the money in the right place, you are aqil. How do you spend your time? You spend it wisely in the right place. How do you put Nadim, in what position you put him? This is aql. But this is the highest level of intelligence, by the way. According to Amir al-Mu'mineen's definition, he should be very prudent and very wise. But this here, the aql, which is for Imam al-Jama'ah, it's really probably one level above insanity. So, والعقل وطهارة المولد. طهارة المولد, my friends, he should not be from illegitimate birth, or at least not publicly being known. Because we don't go and check on people's birth certificate, who was your mother, who was your father, who did, what did. We don't know. But at least in public, people know his father and his mother. They know him. So that one. Why? Some people say this is not good. This is discrimination. This guy, he didn't do something wrong. He's not guilty. Maybe his mother was guilty. His father was guilty. But why him? Why do we punish him? Because I have been asked this question by some youth, So what do you think the answer is?
There's always some defect with those illegitimate children.
You think there is mental defect in them?
Usually there is. There's maybe not mental, but there's social. There's something internally that's not right with those people.
Some people argue there is something wrong with them, but some people say no. Look at how many people their parents, they didn't do their act in the mosque, in the church, but they are very okay, very intelligent, very wise, very, shrewd, very smart, very successful. And physically they are perfect. Physically you look at them, perfect.
But can you assess their morality, their internal morality?
Some of them are very good. Some of them are religious. Do you believe it?
It's ajib.
It's not ajib. Some of them, I know, some of them are religious. Some of them are religious. Or they became religious. Some believe that it's not about moral, ethical, spiritual, religious defect. It's about not to make this thing common.
Not to endorse it.
Exactly, not to endorse it so people get used to it and it becomes okay. So we are not punishing this person. No, we are not punishing. Islam has nothing against the person. He knows the person had no role in that. He's not guilty. He's innocent. But not to make this something normal, a norm in the society. Because then zina becomes okay. Because look at this guy, he's becoming alim, imam, he's my leader. Okay? This is the wisdom behind it. Taharatul Mawlid. And then after that, وَالْبُلُوغُ عَلَى الْأَظْهَرِ. عَلَى الْأَظْهَرِ means most correct, that he has to be baligh. And another opinion versus this opinion is that someone who's not baligh can still lead the prayers for those who are baligh. But that is the opinion of the minority. But the opinion of the majority, no, he has to be. If he's leading for kids like his age, it's okay. But if he's leading the prayers for adult, then he has to be baligh too. وَأَنْ لَا يَكُونَ قَاعِدًا بِقَائِمٍ. He should not be sitting, cannot stand, because some people they pray while they are sitting on a chair or on the floor, while the mu'mumeen are standing. This also should not be done. وَلَا أُمِّيًّا بِمَنْ لَيْسَ كَذَلِكَ. What is the ummi here? Ummi is illiterate. In general, it means illiterate. But this one has a specific meaning here, in this context. What does it mean? Ummi. Does it mean someone who does not read or write, or something else? The general meaning of ummi is someone who does not read or write. But here in this context, what does it mean? Exactly. Not the whole Quran. He cannot recite the Fatihatul Kitab, the Qira'ah, and the Surah. He cannot recite it. Then someone else has to do that. Okay? وَلَا يَشْتَرِطُ الْحُرِّيَّةِ. He could be a slave and he leads the prayers. It's okay. He should not be. This is not for our time, this is for the past. He could be a slave and he leads the prayers, and behind him, 3 people stand behind him. على الأظهر, most correctly. وتشترط الذكورة. Being male is a condition if the ma'mum, those who stand behind him, are males or males and females. I've seen an imam who used to lead in Karbala. I was a kid. We go to the haram, and all the mu'minin behind him are women, no men. He's the only man. He was a specialist in leading prayers for women, alhamdulillah. I've seen this. Nowadays you don't see this anymore. At least there are some 2 or 3 men, but that man, only women pray behind him. Lucky, you know. وَيَجُوزُ. It is permissible أن تأم المرأة النساء. المرأة فاعل، النساء مفعول به. أن تأم المرأة النساء. So a female can lead other females, and also she can lead the khuntha. What is khuntha, my friends? Khuntha is an individual, a person that his reproductive organs are both. He has the male and the female reproduction organs. We can find this. Mixed, he has mixed. We can, even at this time, we can find them, and it has a name in English.
Hermaphrodite.
Exactly. Hermaphrodite, so he is khuntha. So, a lady can lead women, and also, if among those women is someone who's mixed, also can be led by a woman. She can be his imam. Okay? وَلَا تَأُمُّ الرَّجُلَ وَلَا تَأُمُّ الْمَرْأَةُ رَجُلًا وَلَا خُنْثَى. No, wait a minute. He says, وَيَجُوزُ أَن تَأُمَّ الْمَرْأَةُ النِّسَاء. And then the khuntha can lead the nisa too. The khuntha can become the imam for women. Are you with me? But women cannot be the leader in the prayers for men and for khuntha. She cannot be. She cannot be. She can be only for women. But the khuntha can be a leader for what? For women, but not for men. Not for men. ولو كان الإمام يلحن. Yalhin means in tones. Yalhin is when his reading, you know the i'rab, when you have to read Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka. For instance, if he says Iyaka na'buda rather than Iyaka na'budu, wa iyaka nasta'een, he gets mixed because some people they don't really recite them. I've seen it sometimes, unfortunately. Even Surah Al-Hamd, he cannot be the Imam. He can't be the Imam. He cannot be the Imam for those who speak better than him. So if someone speaks better than him, cannot pray behind him. Cannot pray behind someone whose recitation is wrong. Okay? وَكَذَا مَنْ يُبَدِّلُ الْحَرْفِ. Sometimes some people cannot pronounce certain letters. Okay? For instance, I know some people in some countries, the ra, they can't say ra, they say gha. Ra, gha. Okay? For instance, طيارة, they say طياغة. Or سيارة, they say سياغة. This is someone who changes because he does not have the ability. His tongue does not have the ability to pronounce correctly. Same thing with English language. Most of the Arab, they cannot say P. They say B. Beeble. Yeah. Like that person who came and he asked the parking attendant, he asked him, when can I bark? He said, you can bark any. Really, I've seen a university professor here in America who cannot say P. I went to his class and he says Beeble. Beeble. So, and he's a university professor, he has PhD. This is, some people cannot, especially Palestinians, they cannot say P. They cannot say P. Difficult for them, extremely difficult. So this one, if he changes the letter into another one, also it is problematic to stand and be the Imam. وَلَا يَشْتَرِطُ أن ينوي الإمام الإمامة. Now, if the Imam stands for the prayers, he doesn't have to say that I am the Imam. So he says, أصلي صلاة الظهر جماعة قربة الله تعالى. Like when I do the niyyah, I do jama'ah. If I pray at home, furada. Here, jama'ah. I don't say as an Imam. No, you don't have to say that. Okay? Now, who has the priority to lead the prayers? Because sometimes in some countries, in some masajid, in some communities, they fight among them. I've seen this. Who becomes the Imam? There is fighting. Okay? Now, alhamdulillah, this did not happen here so far until today. I don't know tomorrow what will happen. Number one, وَصَاحِبُ الْمَسْجِدِ. صاحب الْمَسْجِدِ, it does not mean the one who purchased the masjid. No. It means the frequent imam of the masjid. Who's the frequent imam? Who's the regular imam? He is, if 5 imams came, he leads the prayers. Mustahab, he himself. Because he's doing it has a specific name in Arabic. What is the specific name?
Of
the regular imam who prays in this masjid regularly. Al-Imam al-Ratib. Al-Imam al-Ratib. He's the regular imam. Al-Imam al-Ratib. Al-Ratib. Al-Imam al-Ratib is the one الراتب. Okay, الراتب. The frequent imam or the regular imam. So he has to do the prayers if there are more than one imam. The second, والإمارة. Imara is the one who is appointed by the caliph, the hakim al-shar'i. He tells him, you lead the prayers in this mosque, in this congregation. So he has to lead. وصاحب المنزل. Who's صاحب المنزل? The owner of the house. Sometimes when I invited to people's home, time of the prayers, he says, I say, you have to lead the prayer. He says, no, astaghfirullah. No. I tell him, mustahab, the owner of the house, okay, he leads the prayers for the people. أولى بالتقدم. والهاشمي, the descendant of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, has priority over the non-Sayyid. So the Sayyid has a priority over non-Sayyid إذا كان بشرائط الإمامة. If he has the other conditions of imamah, but sometimes he's Sayyid but he's not Adil, or he's Sayyid but not Aqil. Usually they say it's very difficult to combine Sayyid who has Aqil. He's Sayyid and he's Aqil. Very difficult. Yeah. So if he has the condition, if he obtains the conditions of Jama'ah, then if he's Sayyid, he has to lead over the Shaykh, the one who's non-Sayyid. وَإِذَا تَشَاحَ الْأَئِمَّةِ. Tashah, my friends, means there is a race between them. Each one says, I will, No, let me lead the prayers. It happens, I'm telling you. Don't look at here. I've been to places, mosques, that two people fight over who leads the prayers. Now, who comes first? Sharia, they have rules for us. They solve the problem. If we look at these, then they don't have to fight. But many of them, they did not study fiqh. This is why they fight. Because they did not study fiqh, believe me. فَمَنْ قَدَّمَهَا الْمَأْمُومُونَ فَهُوَ أَوْلَى. Number one criteria is the approval and the acceptance of whom? The congregation. Of course, after being male, after being adil, after being aqil, baligh, these things are done. Now we come, both of them are aqil, both of them are, of course, if they fight, they are not aqil. I said 1 degree above insanity. Now they are fighting, so we go for democracy. We see who the congregation wants. Now, if the congregation split 50-50, what do we do in this case? 50% of them, they say Sayyid Fulan, 50% of them say Sayyid Fulan, or Sheikh Fulan, or Sheikh Fulan. Because if it is Sayyid and Sheikh, then the Sayyid, Hashimi. But both of them are Sayyid, or both of them are Sheikh. Who is sent first? Al-Aqra, the one who has more accurate pronunciation. More accurate pronunciation of the whole Quran or the Hamdan Surah. They say the Hamdan Surah, not necessarily the whole Quran. Hamdan Surah. فَالْأَفْقَهِ, the most knowledgeable in entire fiqh or the ruling of the prayers. Ruling of the prayers, not the entire fiqh. أحكام الصلاة, شرائط الصلاة, the ruling of the salat. If he has more knowledge about it, then he's sent to the mihrab. فَالْأَقْدَمُ هِجْرَةً, the one who's earlier in his migration. Migration to where? To Orange County? Which migration we are talking about? To Mecca, to Medina?
The area that the salat is.
What do you think? Yes, to the area. Who came to the area first? Because this is not about Mecca and Medina. This hijrah is not about Mecca and Medina. This hijrah about who came to the area first. Who's here first? Who's aqdam? Who's more senior in terms of migration and residence? Okay? So that person comes first. Okay? فَالْأَسَنْ, if both of them, they came with the same boat, alhamdulillah, they landed fresh off the boat, the same date. Then, in that case, the one who's older. فَالْأَسَنْ. Now, if both of them are the same date of birth, listen to this. The last one is very funny. فَالْأَصْبَحْ. Al-Asbah, the most attractive. Sabih. Here it will be a real fighting, because women are going to choose one and men are going to
Maybe that's why that man was the specialist for the women.
فالأصبح ويستحب للإمام. It is recommended that the Imam أن يسمع من خلفه الشهادتين. What does that mean?
Recitation of the shahadatain.
What shahadatain?
Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah.
Where is it?
Oh, where? What do you mean, where is it?
Which shahadatain? What it meant by shahadatain? What is meant by shahadatain?
You mean two witness or
Hmm? Tashahhud during the the end of the prayers, we have tashahhud.
Oh, it's not during the iqamah?
No,
Oh.
no. Mustahab, so people behind him, they can hear his voice. Mustahab, so they are ready to conclude. Okay, to conclude. And we have the hadith, it says the Prophet, when he did tashahhud and salam, this is mustahab, this is not wajib 3 times on, but he did it on purpose so people at the end of the masjid, they can hear his takbirat, so they know the salat has concluded. Okay? وَإِذَا مَاتَ الْإِمَامِ. All of a sudden, Imam had a heart attack and he died in the mihrab, or he passed out. Okay? استنيب من يتم بهم الصلاة. Someone has to be deputizing him, replacing him. Someone from the first line moves. If the Imam, let's say, fall down, he moves 1 step, not necessarily 2 or 3. 1 step. I said, his shoulder is, so 1 step further, he can move, and he continues from where that guy stopped. If he stopped it during qira'ah, during ruku', sujood, that person continues. They don't cut off the salat. They don't cut off the salat. وَكَذَا إِذَا عَرَضَ لِلْإِمَامِ ضَرُورَةً. Sometimes he didn't die, but his wife called him, state of emergency, and he's carrying his iPhone, and he has to answer his wife. Emergency. These emergencies are when his wudu is invalidated. Okay? جَازَ لَهُ أَنْ يَسْتَنِيبْ. Here, he can pull someone to come forward and then he leaves. Okay? يستنيب ولو فعل ذلك اختيارا. Even if he did that not because of a state of emergency, he just decided out of the blue to cut off his prayers. Why he says جاز أيضا, also it is okay, because some opinion they say no. If he cuts off his prayers out of emergency, he has the right to appoint someone to deputize him, to replace him. But if it was not a state of emergency, no one can deputize him. The ma'mumin, they continue their salat as what? Furada. There is no more jama'ah. Okay? ويكره, it is unrecommended, أن يأتم حاضر بمسافر. It is unrecommended that someone who is traveling lead the prayers for others who are not traveling. This is why sometimes when I go to Europe or other places, they ask me to lead the Jama'ah. So I tell them Maghrib is okay. But Isha, I'll do my Isha 2 rak'ah. Okay? And then the 4 rak'ah for the Jama'ah, I do the niyyah of what I have missed. Are you with me? Or sometimes when I travel 120 days per year, I count them, then even when I travel, I start doing my prayers what? Full. Full. Because I become a frequent traveler. If I travel 120 days during the year. So in that case, I have no problem. I'm traveling, but my responsibility, my duty is to offer full prayers. But if I am not less than 120 days, I do the 2 rak'ah of mine as qasr, and then I lead the jama'ah. As we last lesson, we knew that the imam can do the 4 mustahab as mustahab. Okay? While the ma'mumin, they do their wajib.
So there's no tashahhud after the second?
No.
You
No.
just keep going?
I do tashahhud, but no salam.
Oh.
I do 4 rak'ah for them.
Okay, but no salam.
Yes, yeah. وأن يستناب المسبوق. It is makruh. Makruh that someone who came last to the prayers, to lead the prayers. Who came last, okay? وأن يؤم الأجدم, the maimed. Someone who had some parts of his body, okay, maimed, cut off. والأبرص, leprous, yes? Leprosy. Why these things? Because some people say, well, why this discrimination? This is unnecessary. Why do you think we have this? Because we need to understand the reason also.
That's a tough one. I don't know how to justify that.
Because the Imam of the Jama'ah is a public figure. Public figure. And he has to show strength. Not just spiritual strength, but physical strength too. This is why it is mustahab sometimes for the Imam during the Friday prayers to carry the gun or the sword. You know that? I am afraid of doing this in Orange County. So he carries the sword. He leans on the sword. Okay? Why? This is a show of strength. Because the Imam is the leader of the Jama'ah, the congregation. So he has to show the enemies, the outsiders, we are strong. So if the Imam has disability, weakness, things like that, the public image is going to be compromised. Are you with me? So the Imam has to be in perfect condition. In perfect condition. وَالْمَحْدُودُ بَعْدَ تَوْبَتِهِ. This is not physical, this is moral condition. Mahdud, someone who had received the had, the punishment. For instance, someone who drank alcohol, or fornicated, or did this. After they punish him, it is makruh for him to be the Imam. After his tawbah, even after he did tawbah, it's makruh to become the Imam. Okay? Because also public figure. This is when it happens in public, of course. In public. وَالْأَغْلَفِ. Aghlaf is the uncircumcised. Aghlaf, they say it's haram to remain aghlaf. If you are Muslim, it's haram. Unless he fears death, for instance, bleeding until he dies. If there is nobody to do the procedure for him, let's say, but it is haram to continue. Okay, so it is makruh for him to lead the prayers. وَإِمَامَةُ مَنْ يَكْرَهُهُ الْمَأْمُومِ. Wow, this one happens in America a lot. I've been to many Islamic centers in many states and cities, and the ma'mumeen, they say, we don't like this imam. He imposed himself on us. When they have conflict, after a few months after they establish the Islamic center, there will be conflict between the ma'mumeen, the majority of them, not all of them perhaps, the majority, and the imam. And the imam insists on being the imam. But if the ma'mumeen, they dislike him, they are not willing to pray behind him, it's makruh. Or because they are embarrassed, they can't tell him, no, don't come, don't do. They are embarrassed, but he knows that they don't like him, he should not. It's makruh. Makruh. Imam has to be dignified. If people don't like him, he has to be number one to say bye. Thank you very much. You don't have to be upset about anything. Find someone else. Imam has to be, he should not impose himself. The imam should not impose himself on people who pray behind him. And two more items. وَأَنْ يَؤُمَّ الْأَعْرَابِيُّ بِالْمُهَاجِرِينَ. Who's the A'rabi, my friends? It is makruh for the A'rabi to lead the prayers while the mu'mumeen are the inhabitants, the insiders, the people of the town. Who's the A'rabi?
Nomads.
Exactly. A'rabi, not any Arab person. Because we take this from the Quran. قالت الأعراب آمنا. Al-A'rab, different than the Arabs. Arabs are anyone who's Arab. A'rab are those who live in the desert. And if you read about them in Surah At-Tawbah, chapter 9, Al-A'rabu ashaddu kufran wa nifaqa. Allah says they are more severe in their disbelief and in their hypocrisy. Why? Because they speak when they don't know. They have no knowledge. They speak out of bigotry, ta'assub, bigotry, and racism, and bigotry, and discrimination. And this is loathed in religion. So here it says A'rabi because usually they don't understand and they don't know the rulings of fiqh and the prayers. Because they don't read and write all their time in the desert. They don't listen to lectures, they don't study, they don't learn. So it's makruh for him to lead the prayers while there are people in town. Okay? Last but not least, وَالْمُتَيَمِّمُ بِالْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ. People who did wudu, but this guy, he did tayammum rather than wudu. It is also makruh for him to lead the prayers for those. Yes, if all of them are doing tayammum, there is no water available. Somewhere they are stuck in the prison and somewhere. All of them did tayammum, then it's okay. But if he did tayammum and they did wudu, then it is makruh. Not haram, but makruh. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد.